welcome to the Flying Penguins. And before I get started, I would like someone to verify that you can actually hear me. Alright, and to make sure that the music isn't too loud. Actually, I just lowered it down because it was a little loud for me. I may actually be switching music in a few minutes, but we'll see what happens. So I'm switching music to the epic music. Let's see how it goes. There it is. Alrighty. I'm not sure if I'll continue with this or if I'll switch back. Okay. So tonight we hope to rescue Burberry Kerman. I will also be doing another demo of Captain's Log, which has gotten a lot better since last week, and also going to show you something which is coming down the road, another mod which I've been working on, on and off a little bit. All right, but basically, the mainstream tonight is to rescue Burberry. Now, last week, excuse me, last week. We had stopped the stream right about the time when the rescue ship was in a solar orbit, was heading toward an interception, basically, or passing Burberry. And I stopped the stream because the actual burn time of the burn was going to be about 110 minutes, and given the size of the ship, it was 110 real minutes. I wasn't able to time accelerate too much, so I actually did that during the week, but that's all I did. Okay, so actually, let me do this. Show you some pictures from what I did. Kind of cover up the fill in the gaps. And I realize there's only 3 of you here. It's Jade, Disillusion. Actually, and that's it. Just the 2 of you. The third one is me. Okay. But let me get this up. Start off with this one. This was Val. So Val was frozen, as you recall, and so first I started off by unfreezing her, and she's very happy to become unfrozen, never knowing when, excuse me, you get frozen if you'll really be unfrozen. And after that, she went EVA because she had to get back into the command pod in order to actually maneuver the ship. Okay? And we come to here. Okay, and then of course she got in. So now here, the ship is ready for acceleration. One of the things I found out during this acceleration phase was that the gimbals on these rockets were messed up, as I knew they were. The music is still louder? Okay. I had actually raised it up a little bit because this is a different program. How's that now? Okay. So I'll keep talking. You let me know. You let me know how it is. All right. So this is the ship ready for acceleration. Excuse me. Okay. And anyway, so I basically locked the gimbals on all the engines except one on the end to give it a little bit of stability. And here we are, just starting our burn. And actually, the burn went on for quite a while. Now that's actually apparently I came across a little bug, and that is when Valentina went back into the command pod, somehow it still thinks that there's another Kerbal, but it's somewhere, but it says it's Valentina, so we never really see her. I was a little nervous about this. I did some work testing, and it doesn't seem to affect anything. So for now, we're okay. So here we got the ship. You can see here, currently doing about 9,400 meters per second. Okay. And I got this little image showing the insignificance of our ship against the vast universe. Alright. And here you can see how the acceleration can work. Okay? Now we could have waited until a little bit closer to Burberry, but this actually works out pretty well. You'll see as I get closer. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, now I'm not sure if you could see it here, but I didn't have any radiators on here, and I noticed that the two big tanks were getting a little warm. Okay, I also did some practice, and I relearned for the umpteenth time the TAC fuel balancer. So you can see here how I have pretty much moved all the fuel from these tanks into the central core. Okay, now you can't see it here, but what was really interesting was when I started the burn, I had about 39,000 delta V. Okay, and when I finally got those big tanks emptied, or when I moved all the fuel in and got it so that they did fully empty out, I jettisoned them, and all of a sudden I had a lot more delta V than I expected. Okay, but anyway, this was pretty nice. Oops. And now we went down to the central core, basically. Okay. And you can see here how we're just about ready to reverse direction. The really nice thing here is that there's no rush to do maneuvers. When I wanted to do something, I was able to take my time and to make sure that the staging was correct because it had gotten messed up when I did the docking. Okay. Yep. And here we are. Nice. I think it's a fairly nice picture of it under acceleration. And here you can see that the course has been reversed, and we're starting to reaccelerate there. Okay. I'm going to skip a couple of the pretty pictures. Okay, here's a nice one though, with the ship and the nebula in the background. And this, notice we actually had just jettisoned two of the tanks, these two external tanks. Again, I had used TAC fuel balancer to move all the fuel to make sure that these guys got empty first. and when they were emptied, I was able to let them go. My acceleration's increasing, and believe it or not, my delta V hasn't really gone down that much. Okay, so here we are, just a view from the side under acceleration, and here is, you can see here, we're actually this is actually getting pretty close to where we are now, and that's the end of the screenshots. All right. So let's get back into the. Let me close all of these. Close that. Go away. Go away. I want to make sure these are closed because I don't want to be using up all my memory. Well, this illusion, if you want, it's available on YouTube, under my channel up there. So you can enjoy and watch. You can go there and watch. All right. So now, what was I wanted to do? Oh yeah, right. I want to make sure I kill one other process, which uses about 2 gig of memory in my system. It's called Crash Plan. My backup service, and while it works very well, it uses memory. So I'll stop my backup now and just make sure I restart it when I'm done with the stream. Okay, it has now stopped. And one more thing is I want to lock OBS, okay, into a oops, no. Go to details, OBS. You want to lock it into an affinity for CPU 0. Okay, great. And now we can get into the game. Okay, and that's pretty much it. You're pretty much caught up with where we are. Okay. Oh, I have added ground effect, some of the ground mods, because I'm going to be redoing some of the takeoff shots and other for the video, which I'm going to be doing, but it doesn't affect the mission at all. Okay. All right. And we want to go to rescue. That's a very odd number, but I was numbering them as I was doing the development work. Okay, here we are. So, we are now, by the way, she's asleep again. Once the maneuver was done, there was about 2 weeks before the next maneuver, and since I had plenty of glycerol and obviously plenty of electricity, okay, glycerol I have 230, each refreeze cycle takes 5, I believe. But I got plenty of that. I got plenty of liquid fuel. Don't need some guidance here. Not as much monoprop as I really want. Okay, I was hoping to use that for to do like a short range trip and not have to use the big ship to do micro maneuvers, but I'm not sure I'll be able to. We'll have to see. Okay. That being said, let's take a look at the tracking station. Here we are. Okay. So, this is the situation. There's Burberry. That's us. And that is our approximate interception. We're going to be about 30 or 40,000 kilometers apart, but given the distances involved, that's not going to be too bad. As you can see, the maneuver is 67.7 meters per second. All right. Let's take a look at MechJeb. Look at the delta V stats. All right. So we'll get back to here. 67. Let's in round numbers call it 7,000 meters per second delta V. Okay. And don't forget, I'm going to need another 19 to 20,000 in order to get back. So looking here, I still have 35,000 meters per second delta V. Now remember when I took off and I got the ship all together, I had about 40,000 delta V. And the reason that I haven't lost, I've burnt up and lost so much of the vessel is that as I've let it go, I got rid of all that dead mass, and my delta V remaining actually went up every time I dropped off the dead mass. Okay, so that being said, all right. Okay, so we have to now what I'm going to do is just to blip the engines. Okay. Oh, and you notice here, you see how these are low and the others are high. It's because, again, I have attack fuel balance. I'm making sure that one set gets emptied first. See, that one's full, and this one is half empty, and it'll be the same down here, obviously on opposite sides. All right. So let's just blip the engine for a second. Unfortunately, because she is frozen, it's going to be a full force blip, but not a big deal. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So that is going to be a 1 hour, another 1.5 hour burn. However, believe it or not, I will now be able to time warp because the ship is a lot smaller. BBS, not sure what that means. And whoever else just popped in, welcome. And hello, welcome to the Flying Penguins. Glad that you're here. I hope you have a good time. All right. So, since that's going to be an 1.5 hour burn, let's use Kerbal Alarm Clock, which I haven't used up until now. We want that to be, well, actually, I'm going to say 4 hours in advance, just because of, you know something, 8 hours. Let's be safe. Okay, just because of the inaccuracies of interplanetary traffic calculations. All right, so let's go here and let's start time warping. I think that's good enough. Yeah, but given that I'll be able to time warp, it won't be that bad. Excuse me while I finish eating dessert. Okay. Well, we're getting closer. Now, I wish that I hadn't had such an angle. In needing such an amount of delta V change, but it worked out reasonably well. Okay, time warping is done. We are close. Look at that. Kerbal Alarm Clock can go away, and it's time to wake up Val again. Watch the lower right corner. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Hello, Val, and welcome. Welcome back to the world of the living. Okay, let's get rid of that. There she is. There she is. As bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Okay. So let's change that. All right. She does need to get over here. And frankly, I'm not sure that if they could technically operate the vessel from in here, but in my mind, it doesn't make sense, so I'm just not doing it. But time for Val to go EVA. Okay. There she is. Up. Board. Oops, grab. Board. And there we go. And there I got my ghost Val again. I posted a message in the deep freeze menu. Nobody's bothered to get back to me. Deep freeze forum. So no one's bothered to get back to me. All right. So we have node is in the day. 1 day, 1 hour. So what I'm going to actually do is begin the burn an hour and a half before the node, because I want to make sure that we don't overshoot it. Okay, so another here to add. We want to do this 3 hours. Again, I want to make sure I don't want to overshoot. All right, ship is already lined up. Isn't it amazing? You hyperwarp and nothing moves. Yes, Valentina got this mission, not Jeb. You see, Jeb is stupider than Val. So. Okay. Delete on close. Okay. 3 hours. So let's time warp for another hour. 2 hours. And I'm assuming that the music and the sounds are all good. Okay. So burn is in 2 hours. We basically want to wait about 30 minutes, and then I'm going to start the burn. Better early than late in this particular case. Add. So we want to do 30 minutes. Oops. No. Margin 1 hour, 30 minutes. So that's right. Yep, so we're gonna wait another 30 minutes. Val has finished communicating back to mission control, and such as it is, she can't hear them, she's too far away. But and it was really very nice as I dropped off pieces of the ship, the time warp. We were able to, the system was not being overloaded anymore. All right, so we are all set. We have, we're a little bit early, but that's fine. And let's just go full throttle. Okay, make sure things are doing good. Yeah. Okay, and now we can do a physics warp. So I'm doing a 3 times physics warp. Let's do it's 4 times. It's actually, it shouldn't take too long. I can't go to 4 times because that'll be too much. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have a while to wait. Okay. I just want to get a feeling for exactly how much real time this is going to be. But I may want to, I may pull up another game in the meantime to show you some of the stuff I've been working on. Take a look over here, and you can see that I mean the intended orbit is going to get us to do a rendezvous over here. We will be at that point 41,000 kilometers apart. Okay, once we finish this burn, we'll be able to do some fine tuning. Yep, Val is going to bring Burberry home, and I'm actually writing up a whole story. I'm going to be doing a whole video, which is why I'm going to be reshooting some of the takeoff scenes, etc. Because I want to try and, I'm going to be adding a few things. I've resurrected an old mod called the NASA countdown launch countdown clock. I'm going to be using that. I'm going to try and make it a bit more immersive. So. Anyway, all right. So I'm actually going to get this other game started. Well, I'm gonna let you watch that while I get this thing going, so I can easily flip back and forth. Oh, take it back. We'll just keep this one on while I get this one, the second game up, and then I'll be able to flip back and forth and keep track of both of them. Okay. Well, whoever just joined, welcome to the Flying Penguins. I'm Linux Guru Gamer, and this is the rescue mission to rescue Burberry of Kerman from a retrograde solar orbit. Okay. Unfortunately, or well, not unfortunately, but as the case turns out, we have about an hour. It was a 1 hour 24-minute burn. We're down to just about an hour now. I have time warp going, and because it's taken so long, I'm actually going to flip to another copy of KSP and let this run in the background. And I'm going to show a couple of the things that I've been working on. Okay, so let's do that switch now. Okay, and I'll probably do this again later in a more if and when the people show up. But right now, I don't want to keep you guys just sitting there watching an endless burn. So we'll just do this. Okay. What I'm going to show you is the captain's log. The captain's log has been, I've made a lot of progress on it during the week. I actually had to rewrite some of the internals, and in doing so broke it. But it was actually a good thing because it now works better than it did before. Okay, and so I'm going to just be flipping, and you will see the flip when I just go to the other screen and just make sure things are going okay, that we're still centered properly, and then I'll come back to here. Okay, so the captain's log is designed to capture events as they happen, and to make it easy for you to keep track of what's going on. Now, the way it's currently written, okay, there are a lot of options over here, and what these are is there are all these different sorts of events when things happen, and some of them tend to be internal, like crew transfer. That's when you do a transfer from one part to another. SOI, that's when you're leaving or entering, this SOI of the body. Flag plant, I don't know why I have two of them there. Probably I have to fix that. And then all of these up here. Now, the more you have checked off, the more kind of intrusive it's going to be, but I also have ways to minimize that. For example, over here, minimum time between log entries. So even if, let's say you do something and you get a whole bunch of events happening very quickly, like crash, okay, it will not pop up 30 or 40 windows asking you for input. I have a minimum time, okay? Now the minimum time does not apply to manual log entries, okay? And also, a delay before pause, that's both for you to enter the notes and for the picture to be taken. And you'll see how that works in a moment, okay? Screenshot at log entry if you want it. Hide the UI for the screenshot, that does something like that. Save the screenshot as a JPEG and save PNG, okay? These still, well, they're working fine. There's some behind the scenes work I need to do some cleanup. Okay, so right now these are pretty much the defaults. I'm just going to leave them that way. Okay, and we'll just get back to here. All right, so here we have. Might as well show you the launch countdown at the same time. Okay, so this is a mod from which was written a number of years ago. It hadn't been updated since 1.1.3. So there was actually a little bit of a hassle trying to set that, yes, set that. Settings, sound enable. That's fine. We'll do this. This guy back. And so so I'm showing you two mods at once, okay?
T-minus 10.
And I'm not touching the keyboard at all. Okay, why isn't it working? Oh.
9, 8.
Okay, so this is Captain's log, being a little intrusive pre-launch manual entry. I don't care about that. I'm just going to cancel that.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition sequence.
Whoops. When I was testing this, I had launch clamps. Not all about that. Anyway, so well, you saw it work. Unfortunately, my staging, I kind of staged on the pad. But you see what happened? I got stage activated. Okay, so this would be stage. I'm just typing. Doesn't matter what. Now, eventually, the idea is that you hit escape to close. It's not working yet. Not properly anyway. Okay? It's one of the few things at this point which isn't working. All right. So I am going to revert because I don't want to. I want to show you the whole thing as it works nicely. And let's get some clamps. Clamps. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for that, let's just check the scene. Okay, doing good. We're almost halfway through the burn. Okay, and let's get back to the desktop center. Resume flight. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, now the way this works, I'm going to scale the window a little larger. Okay, the way this works, and I have to fix this. It's not remembering the position of the clock. Okay, You saw me play with the launch sequence. Let me do this again, okay? So, for example, set set. So this is the last 10 seconds. You can actually have it control things for you, okay? So at 6 seconds, it's gonna do number 3, okay? And then at 1 second, it will do that, okay? Great. All right. So one thing you need to do, okay, is set the throttle to what you want it to be, because what it does is that it will set the throttle to the last, to what it considers the default. Okay, here we go.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition sequence.
Okay. And believe it or not, there was about 1.5 to 2 seconds before this came through. I'm not sure why the event which came through for some reason was landing. That's very odd. That's okay. We'll just cancel out of it. It actually took a screenshot. Okay. Now I'm going to be annoying and General. I want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm going to go EVA. So he goes. So he just jumps. Okay. We'll go back to the one. Enables is the last one. He's just like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. What am I going to do? Stop the engines. Stage. See that? See the 2 seconds for the stage? Really? Okay. Is it dropping frames right now? Because if it is, then that means this isn't. Running 2 of them at the same time isn't really a great idea. Okay. Let me finish up with this. So anyway, so we just here we did the ejection, staged, main, service bay. Okay. He just took the screenshot. So let me finish up with this real fast. Now over here, this is everything that happened. Okay. And also when it does snapshots. Okay. You can delete lines from here. Edit, isn't working yet. I haven't coded that. And this is for EXP for export. When you actually go ahead and export to a file, you can actually you can export all, you can export none, and then select specific lines which you want exported, etc. All right. So great. Okay, so let me get out of this. Click to main menu. I'm probably overloading the computer, so we'll just go back to the scene. Let me know how it is now. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm actually, I see how it's been dropping frames. All right. Still frozen? Oh, nuts. Okay. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, so you can see here, switch. Okay, we have about 20 minutes to go in burn. Okay, you can see how we are not going to hit the sun anymore. And we're still a good distance away from it, but we're a lot closer, and we'll continue to do so. So let's get to here. Okay. And there's Val. Yeah, this is really strange because it says it thinks that she's here, but she isn't, and I think that's a bug in the deep freeze mode. Okay, so we're just gonna wait. While waiting, if you guys have any questions, be more than happy to entertain them. I know there's a little bit of wobbling there. Oh, right. When I was playing by myself, I didn't have OBS running, so I was able to time warp without problem. Okay now. As long as it doesn't go red. This started out as 2 rockets. Okay, so it's hard to say on the launch pad, but in space, when the final assembled vessel had a little over 40,000 delta V, but that was not taking into account the fact that I've been dropping stages as we empty them out. Okay, so see here, we actually are almost done with the next, and what you're going to see, hopefully, when I drop it, as soon as we get out of here, we run out of here, I'm going to stop the engines for a moment because we got plenty of time here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do an F5. I'm going to make sure that everything's all set, and then I'll stage, and hopefully we will stage the right elements. Okay. It looks like it will be, but again, I want to be very careful here. But seriously, but when I was building the ship and I did all that research and work, I didn't even think about the staging. I mean, I knew I would be doing it, but I was looking at the total ship and the total delta V, and I thought, okay, we should have enough. And then I made that mistake when I did the second launch of having the one of the stages filled with liquid fuel and oxidizer instead of all liquid fuel, so I ended up with less liquid than I expected. Not a terrible amount less, but it was still something which concerned me. And then when I dropped those big tanks, it's like all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, I still have 40,000 delta V. So I said, yeah, and then I realized what I'd forgotten all about. So, oops, not that. Let's get rid of Kerbal alarm clock here. now, F5. Okay. Make just one final check. That is empty. That is empty. That is empty. Yep. And over here, that is empty. That is empty. Great. Let's take a look at TAC fuel balancer just to make sure. Oh, right, I keep forgetting. The TAC fuel balancer, it's one of those which defaults to the let's see, toolbar if it's available. All right, so these guys are all empty, and each thing is 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. So we're all set. Okay, get rid of TAC, eject 3. What I will do actually is turn on the engines just a little bit. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And now everything's good. Go to full throttle again. Okay. And take a look at our Delta V. Okay, that didn't change, but that's because I had this taken care of. Great. So now I want to make sure that it's doing the fuel the way I want it to. So while we're waiting on this, okay. There we go. So here. Still at 100, which is good. Keep those as transfer in. Okay, great. And these guys will just make sure that they all stay all balanced, stay balanced. All right. Okay, so how long this is another, actually we only have 9 minutes left to this burn. So, yep, asparagus staging on a very large scale. Kerbal Engineer only includes that if you have your staging set up properly. The problem is that when I docked the top part to the bottom part, it messed up the staging. So it really wasn't showing it properly, and I just didn't bother doing anything until during the week when I was when I got TAC fuel balancer working, and then I worked on ejecting individual stages as they came through. Okay, so we are actually going to be we'll be at the node supposedly in 31 minutes. Yeah, but as it turns out, you know, we're a little ahead of the game. So now do this. We can get this burn over with as quickly as we possibly can. Okay. It is set that way, good. Six and a half minutes left to this burn. 500 Delta V to go. 550. If Burberry were awake, we could talk to him then. But he's not, he's asleep. Five minutes to go on the burn. Four minutes. Slowing down to normal. It's actually quite interesting. In that 4 minutes, we expect the periapsis to go up by 300,000. We'll see. So, I see I got at least one, maybe two more viewers. Welcome to the Flying Penguins. I am Linux Guru Gamer, and you are watching a mission to rescue Burberry Kerman. Okay. We are about almost halfway through the mission. Hello, Jade. Welcome back. We're pretty much, we reversed our course using 2 burns of each one over 100 minutes apiece. Excuse me. And at this point, we are just getting ready to match orbits in order to rescue him. So Kerman is over here, okay? So by the time when we get to Burberry here, Kerman's going to be on the other side of the sun, which works out well because it'll give us a chance to reorient and then do another matching burn in order to catch up. Okay. 1 minute 33 seconds to go to the burn. And believe it or not, nuclear engines have not overheated the vessel. Because I guess it's because there's so much mass here. I will have to be careful when I get toward the end of the mission, as there really won't be that much left. But in the meantime, we're doing fine. Okay, there we go. Really will do that. Look at that. 75 meters per second, 47 seconds to burn. I will be uploading this to YouTube at the tomorrow morning, so you will be able to see it then. 50 meters per second, 30 seconds to go. We are approaching Miko, and the orbits are almost perfect. 26, 5, 4, 3 seconds, 13 seconds, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and Miko. Okay, let's see how close we are. We are going to be 53,000 kilometers apart. I'm actually not sure if we'll be ahead or behind him. target position. So we have 170 meters per second difference in speed. Okay. So let's see what happens here. It looks like I might actually need to boost out a little bit. Eight. 53. 56. Really good. 53. Why are we still so far apart? Looks like it might be playing condition. Alright, so let's see. I'm not going to bother to make that minor of a change right now. I'm curious to see what Metched will do. We want to get closer. Whoa! I don't think Metched is able to deal with things like this. It wants me to do a 91-day burn. Forget it. Match velocity at closest approach, which would be over there, 171. Okay. And over there will be 13,000 kilometers apart. Over here, okay, I think we can live with this. Where's Kerman? Kerman's here. Okay, so if we, I'm sorry, that's doing it. Yeah, right. This is that's stress. Where is Kerman? Oh, Kerman is here. Okay, so actually, if we go there, Kerman is going to be, so we're actually going to pass, we'll have to catch Kerman on the next time around. Jade, what did you do? Yes, I do maintain SXT. What, its wing pieces do not have module lifting surface. It's the first time I heard about this. I'll have to, is he online now? No, he's not. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that, but first I've heard. Unless somebody screwed it up, which is always possible. Alright, we'll do that. So we're using all the reaction wheels around in order to move the ship. That's a reaction wheel. We got, do we have one over there? No. So we have a reaction wheel here. That's the KW Rock 2 reaction wheel. One here. There's an autopilot, I believe, right here, which has its own reaction wheel, as well as what we have on top here. This illusion, if you see him before I see him, let him know, I'll take a look. But I've never heard of, no one else has ever complained about it not having module lifting service. So I'll take a look at it, but I seriously doubt it's the mod. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Okay. Okay. So, our burn is in 61 days. So guess what Val is going to do? Have you guessed that she's going to go back to sleep? Right. believe it or not, it's not blocked. Oh, I gotta be careful not to bump into the solar arrays. There we go. She has boarded, and it is time to go to sleep, Val. Let's see which one she's in. Alright, I wonder if they fixed it, if that's fixed. Alright, so let's put it to sleep. Deep freeze. Good. Nice. Alright. I see the KEL 9000 is still there. No, Val is asleep. Val is going to be, has been frozen and will stay there until the next, in about 60 days. I'll wake her up a day early. Again, the whole thing here is that I have to be very careful about life support. Okay? Which isn't showing anything for some odd reason. Maybe because there aren't any Kerbals here? Oh yeah, because there aren't any Kerbals, it can't show anything. Duh! Okay. We have plenty of supplies, but we still have to be careful. So let's get Kerbal alarm clock. And we want to add an alarm. Remove a node. And so Kerbal days are 6 hours, so that would be, we want, let's do 2 days early, 12 hours. Add alarm, 59 days, right. Okay. Okay, and let's go ahead and warp. I'm taking a lot of extra pictures here because I need to be able to show that I actually did the challenge. There we go. So Burberry is ahead of me. That's the problem. Let's see. Oh, and I'm high. Oh. Okay, delete on close. All right. Well, that explains why it was so far away, and it also means it tells me what I could do to possibly improve upon it. Okay. First, let's go wake up Val. Okay, Val, wait, time to wake up. You shall thaw you. Okay. Thaw. Okay, Val, here we are again. And it's time to go back to the command ship. Okay. R. while she's out here, she might as well do an inspection of the parachute. Oops, wrong one. Parachute looks good. So let's get inside. Alright. So now, let's see if we can improve our maneuver a little bit. It says it's 171 meters per second. Okay, we have a day to play around with this. So let's try this. Here, add a maneuver. First place I want to go down a little bit. Okay. 48,000. That's good. Close right now, 47,000. And at that point, it will be still a little high. We're almost perfectly centered to this. This. There you go. So that's what's happening is so at that point we might as well we'd still be behind him a little bit. How far apart are we? 40,000 kilometers. Not good enough. Not good enough at all. So we still need to actually be inside. 40,000. 41, 40,000. And that will bring us to a slightly interior orbit. A lot interior. 300 meters per second. How are we doing on Delta V? I mean, I don't mind spending a little extra time. Yeah, I think we're fine on the Delta V. Okay. So I see I have someone else showed up, and hello and welcome. I am Linux Guru Gamer. Welcome to the Flying Penguins, and we are currently working on attempting to do a rendezvous in solar orbit with Burberry Kerman's craft. Okay. And it's not easy, given that the distance is involved. And he's actually a little ahead of us, unfortunately. So, what I have to do is go inside a little bit, and then I'll accelerate here. Okay. Make sure which one is his. That's his, that's mine. Probably right about here. Maneuver. We don't want to go too far inside. Okay, and once we do that, okay, then I'll have to do another maneuver somewhere around here, I guess, in order to actually do the final one, to actually rendezvous with him. Yeah. Actually, this one is I want to get this orbit entirely inside of his, but not too far inside. Alright, so we'll have to adjust it over there. Alright, so the other thing I need to do over there is raise it up. Actually, I need to raise it. I need to do an adjustment right here in order to stop going down. Whoops. Not that. Okay. And there is much better. Alright, so let's do the first maneuver. Okay. Maneuver, well, let's get ourselves targeted toward it. Plenty of time to get ourselves oriented, 52 minutes to the burn. I am not going to use RCS fuel unless I absolutely have to, just because that's last resort. It's a 348 burn. It'll be about 3.5 minutes. At this point, it looks like our acceleration is just over 1 meter per second. Just so that I'm not going to play games, maneuver just going to have it execute the next node. Just so we don't spend humongous amounts of time waiting for the game to play. I don't need to F5 here. Once it comes out of warp, I'll do an F5. Okay, I just did the F5. Now here's the interesting thing, what I don't like about MechJeb. As we get to the last few moments of the burn, the target tends to go away. So I tend not to let MechJeb finish the maneuver. I like using it to start and get it and do most of it. Okay, so this is our burn in order to get down to the right plane. I can't hear the engines at all. I think I turned it down way too much. Can you hear the engines at all? I had turned it all the way down. Spacecraft is still down. There we go. Alright. So I think that the engines are at a reasonable level. Just let me know if it's too loud. Minute 34 seconds to go in the burn. Val is having lots of fun. It's like, look, we're doing it. We're getting there. Amazing. To go to the burn. Well, someone else just joined. Welcome to the Flying Penguins. I am Linux Guru Gamer. We are working on a mission to rescue Burberry Kerman from a retrograde solar orbit, which means that the vessel, in order to do that, you need more than 40,000 Delta V fuel in order to go direct. Now, some people can do this and they go all the way up beyond Elu and they use very little fuel to do that, but that takes too long. And basically, your Kerbals will die if you do that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to essentially abort the node execution and immediately start it back up as soon as I see this start to waver. Right now. There we go. Successful burn. Okay. And we want to match planes with the target. be right there. Okay. Actually, let's remove all nodes. Create node. At the nearest. Should be there. Create node, which should be right there. And it's going to require another 328 meters per second burn, but at that point we'll be in the same plane. Okay. And then basically the rendezvous should be fairly simple to do. Okay? So that is in 4 days. Check the life support. We have 403 days of supplies. So it's more than enough. So I'm not going to bother putting Val to sleep for 4 days. But once we get Burberry on board, then that drops to about 200, and there'd be a very good chance we'd run out if we couldn't go into deep freeze. So let's do this. And again, I'm going to let MechJeb execute the next node. Okay, just because I want to. I can do it, but as I said before many times, that's not for me the fun of the game. I've done it once, I've done it a few times, so now I'm just trying to plan and control the missions, and I let the computer do what it's supposed to do.
That's not scary. We'll tell you what.
Okay. Closer to Kerman or Kerbal than any other Kerbal has ever been before in this game, except for Burberry. I think that's a nice shot. Let's hide the alarm clock. We don't need that here. So actually, what these two maneuvers will have used up about 700 delta V of fuel. Okay, which really was about 10% of what we had available. Okay. When I say available, I'm looking at this stage as being essentially maneuvering fuel for the rendezvous, and this stage, which would be 23,000, in order to get back home. Okay. Almost there. Okay. Burn in about 1 minute. Actually, the burn is about to start. There we go. So in reality, real pilots, they program these maneuvers in long before they actually do it. So it's really the computer which is controlling. So I'm just saying that Val is doing the same thing. And whether it's MechJeb or whether it is, where is it? There it is. The KAL 9000, they're doing maneuvers. Electricity is full, 14,000. I love how the fact that I have more fuel than can possibly show up here. I'm not sure what this megajoule is. Oh, right, the array. Oh, that's fine. Glycerol. 225 out of 240 monoprop. That's the only thing I'm not happy about. The fact that we don't have a lot of monoprop. What I had intended to do, or what I hoped to do, which I can't anymore, it was to get close in the same orbit and then detach and then use the monoprop engines and the monoprop to go actually do the rendezvous, pick up Burberry, and then come back to the vessel, redock, and then go home. I can't do that anymore because of the lack of monoprop. It was used a lot more than I expected. So, yes, it's the KAL 9000, and yes, I have plans to enhance it. Right now, it's just a regular command engine.
There's scare stuff, bro. But there.
Oh, I don't have that mod installed. There's a mod which lets you move, a couple of mods which lets you move the top and the bottom out of the way. I don't have installed in this save. Okay, we have 22 seconds left to the burn, and I'm going to do the same thing. Abort, T, abort. This way we don't have to worry about it wandering. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See how it wanders off? I realized that at this point it was very close to the edge, but it's close enough. All right, so that's where we're at. Okay, so now Burberry is ahead of us. He is 41 million meters, which is 41,000 kilometers away.
There's scare stuff, bro.
And he's actually slowly getting further away because he's actually going up. But we will soon be able to take care of that. Okay. So, just out of curiosity, see what Metro would do with a rendezvous water pilot. So it's probably not going to do anything which I want. Okay. So it would actually want us to do a burn right now. Oh, look at that. It's actually going to do exactly what I want. What I want to do is get this oriented here, then I will okay, then I'll delete the node and redo it, and then just get us exactly there. whoever else just joined in, welcome to the Flying Penguins. This is Linux Guru Gamer. And don't need to be that close. 500 meters. Engage the autopilot. There we go. Anyway, sorry about that, but I needed to get this maneuver going. I am Linux Guru Gamer. These are welcome to the Flying Penguins. We are working to rescue Burberry Kerman from his retrograde solar orbit. And we were making very good progress. We are going to end up with a surplus of Delta V. Bronco, thank you very much. I just noticed the cheer. I do appreciate it. I wasn't even aware that you were here. Hopefully you still are. So it turns out that the maneuvers worked out very well. And actually, where's Kerman? Kerman's over there. We are not going to go too long. So basically, by the time we get back to Kerman, it'll have been less than a Kerman year for the entire rescue mission. Which is pretty nice, given that some of the other people in the forum have taken literally centuries to do this rescue. I realized that they had much smaller rockets. I mean, frankly, I think that the one who had the smallest rocket was like 17 or 18 tons. But it literally took him centuries in order to do the rescue. And like I said, that just doesn't make sense to me. Well, we're going to burn again. Notice the light bulbs as they glow. Okay, 1 minute to go in the burn. And that will be 19 days till interception. So as I said earlier, I'm actually writing a story which is going to take these pictures, take videos. I'm going to be reshooting video. I'm going to try to do the whole thing as a fairly nice story and post it into the forums. Okay. We are going to do this again. Let's see what happens here. Okay, that's where we're at. Target, we will be 0 kilometers. I think that's pretty good. You know, we took off. We managed in an untried ship. We have managed to, at this point, get very close, and we will soon be rendezvousing with him. And we only have a 96 meter per second difference in speed. Okay, so I'll just do the last one, match velocities with target and closest approach. Stop that.
Okay, so remember what he EVA? He's not what he was Sir Larson Steel.
So I'm going to keep maneuver planner up because I want to just, actually I don't need it anymore. Okay. It's almost 10 o'clock. I see that I've lost most of my viewing population. Disillusioned and Jay, thank you both for sticking around. At least I assume it's both of you who are here. Well, actually, I see Dorian 6565, Disillusioned, Jade of Mar, Little Guff, Who is Marco, and Wizard 256. I don't know if you're all here or not. I know that my viewer count right now is down to 3. But if you're here, welcome, and thank you very much for sharing this evening with me. Okay, so we have it wants to do a 7 meter per second burn, a 0.7 meter per second. Well, I'll let it do it, but that's the problem with this autopilot, is that it gets to be too picky. So now I do want the maneuver planner. Match velocity at closest approach. I don't need this anymore. Okay, remove all nodes, create node. Right there. Is that going to be up close? Okay. Yeah. Alright, so fine. So let's do this. And it's so nice that we actually see the target marker on the screen. Give it a moment. Let's do this. Oh, actually, before I do that, it's not auto walk. How long did we get there? It's 19 days. Yeah, well, I won't bother putting it to sleep. Execute. No. You should be seeing him soon. 2 hours. Burberry, where are you? 1 minute, 54 seconds. It's a 54-second burn. So nice to see that we're so close. 40,000 meters, 40 kilometers away. Okay, that's why. He's ahead of us. It's too far for us to see. I don't have the distant objects here. But actually, now that we're here, well, let me wait until we get this maneuver's done. Bingo. Okay. So, F5. We are 40 kilometers away, which is good, but not good enough yet. So now, I wonder, let me see how much. Let's go I can't go prograde? Why not? There is no prograde? Oh, control from here. Oh, orbit. There we go. Prograde in the orbit. Now let me tell you why I'm doing this, okay? According to this, he is a little bit ahead of us. Looks like he's slightly on the inside also. Okay. So let's point to the target. So what I'm thinking about doing is possibly, I have to see if I have enough delta V in the RCS. I'm not sure. It's 40,000 kilometers. But I was thinking maybe, well, let me see if I can get a little closer before I do that. Okay, so target is, there he is, great. 40 kilometers away. Okay, so when I'm, so actually let me just do a burn here. All right, there's no retro prograde for the target because we're almost identical. Great, there we are. So, if I can, now we do ad hoc. So okay, so that should have done it. Over here, we will be 200 meters away. So while I'm waiting for this, we will go retrograde to the target. Get ready to show yourself down. 25 meters a second, I could almost have him hop out and catch up, but not quite. We are so far away from the sun, basically, that doing these sorts of maneuvers is almost like as if we didn't have any gravity. Not quite, but almost. Thank you, Disillusioned. I did get it, but it's always nice having someone watching my back. So we will be there in how long? 25 minutes. Okay. I'm going to let it stabilize, and then I'll do some time warping. Actually, let me just, might as well use the rendezvous maneuver planner. And say match velocities at closest node. 24 minutes. Make sure it's nice and stable before I do this. So I will be putting both of these vessels up on Kerbal X when I'm done with this whole thing. So anyone else who might be interested, would be able to try to replicate my feats.
There's another view west on the and then it's got new stuff and there is 30.
Val is getting really excited. She's been out here for a while, and she's finally going to get to see Burberry. Just keep in mind, this illusion, you're going to have to install a bunch of mods. Okay. The nice thing about Kerbal X is that it will show you what mods you'll need to install. Execute. I forgot to do the execute. Duh. There we go. Okay, actually, it's. Yes, I wanted to quick save this. Alright, here we go. It's a 14-second burn. And ignition now. We are. You can't get any closer than that. Look at that. 150 meters away. Absolutely perfect. Okay.
There is pressing it on his path.
Alright, so now, did the F5, now we can finally switch to Burberry, and this is Burberry's craft. Okay, he was in a little Mark 1 pod. He did have, thank God, a deep freezer. Okay, somewhere. Freeze. There he is. Why it isn't doing it when I click on there, I don't understand. But we shall thaw him. Burberry is awake. Hello, Val. Where are you? Somebody woke me up. Oh, there you are. I'll have to EVA. So this was a the challenge itself required that we place a vessel there which had no maneuverability at all. Okay, so what I did was I kind of threw something together. You know, this is a tank adapter. Unfortunately, doesn't have a docking port. Otherwise, I could have considered refueling from it, but that's not a big deal. And even though this has monoprop, it's not worth it. So we shall EVA Burberry now. Wow, what a ship! That makes mine look like a toy. Which end is up? Oh, it's over there. Okay. music is nice, isn't it? Val tells him, don't hit solar panels. We need those. Burberry says, I won't. Burberry is thinking that maybe he joined the wrong space program. But that's okay. He's now known as Wrong Way Burberry. He doesn't know that yet. He won't know that till he gets back. But I'm not sure if you ever heard the story about Wrong Way Corrigan. Why isn't it not docking? Hello. Oh. That's why. I don't see it. Grab. And boy. Yay! Confliction. Thank you very much for hosting. This is, for anyone who's tuning in now, hello Confliction, and thank you very much. For your viewers, I am Linux Guru Gamer, and I am in the middle of a rescue mission, and I've just rescued Burberry Kerman. Well, I've rescued him from his maroon vessel. The problem is that we are still in a retrograde solar orbit, okay? We still need to get home. But it's been very successful until now. No real hiccups. And we now need to plan our way home. And all of you viewers, welcome. I hope you enjoy watching. We are going to F5 for safety. Here's where we are. Okay, here's where we are. There's Kerman. The Kerman is coming around like this, okay? And we are going around like that. And what this means is that we have to, at the right time, do what's going to amount to something like a 900, no, more than that. About an 18,000 second burn. You can figure out how long that'll take in order to reverse our course and get back on a course toward Kerman. Okay. Let's see. MechJab may tell us what our vessel, what our current acceleration is. Max surface TWR, we're not there. Current max acceleration is 1.7 meters per second. So we've improved over time. So, oh, look at that. The bug showed up again. I'll have to tell them about it. Confliction, Mazel Tov. Well, this is frankly the furthest I've ever been from Kerman. Okay, not counting one mission I did to Duna, but that was unmanned. So what I need to do now is, unfortunately, MechJab, while it's very good for some things, it will not deal with retrograde orbits. So we need to figure this out. Kerman is there, we're here, we have to do a burn. Probably do that. Okay. Probably around here. Now the problem with that is that even we'll then start heading up to Kerman, but because we're on an end of orbit, we're going to be going faster, so we'll probably have to do our burn right about there. Okay? And this is what we have to do. Kerman the target. Fortunately, there's a lot of debris. There, Kerman set as target. Okay. So confliction. Disillusioned is very good. He is a very good player. So basically treat what he says as pearls of wisdom. Okay, like that. And frankly, I don't want to wait that long to do the Monday to get there. So we got that. Go. $21,000, which is fine because I have 26,000 Delta V left over. Okay, so using 21,000 Delta V, that would be a 3-hour burn. We got our encounter there. So that 21,439 bear 3 hours 10 minutes. Okay. And the maneuver is in 97 days. Alright. So what this means is that our intrepid Kerbals will have to go into hibernation. Okay. In the meantime, before we do anything, we will get ourselves oriented. And actually, I'm going to give a half a second thrust just to get away from that. Doesn't affect anything really, but make sure that everything is good there. So confliction. Have you been streaming long? It sounds like you've had a fairly decent audience. So you just recently got KSP. Are you having fun with it? Okay. What I've done. Oh, and by the way, I'm sure that you probably aren't playing with that many, if any, mods. Are you? Because there are one or two which I consider absolutely essential. I'd like to tell you about them and maybe show them to you while you're here. All right. So while I wait for confliction to get back to me, we are going to EVA our Kerbals, put them into the freezer. First, Burberry, because Val does not trust him. Even though he is a 5-star pilot, he's not really. He made a mistake. He boosted in the wrong direction and then forgot to turn off the rockets. I mean, how else do you get into a retrograde solar orbit? Really? I mean, come on. Yep, Kerbal Engineer. That was going to be the first one. Also, do you have Kerbal Alarm Clock? Kerbal Engineer is one of the few I consider essential in terms of gameplay. Okay, there are some that I use and which I also consider essential in terms of making it easy to edit ships. But if you're just getting used to getting in, it's not as important, and you can look into those later on. Burberry, stay away from the solar panels. Burberry, you're an idiot. That's not the hatch. See, this is why Burberry got lost to begin with. This is why we had to mount this humongous rescue mission because, well, no Kerbal left behind and all that, but we get fools like this who think they know how to fly spaceships. And guess what? They don't. A mod you may want to consider just for fun is something called Chatterer. Chatterer, Chatterer is where you're hearing those little voices talk, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so Val is putting her ship into automatic mode, and she's going to go EVA. She's not going to make the same mistake that Burberry did in terms of missing the hatch. Okay. Val's decided she's going to inspect the ship before she goes to sleep. Make sure everything is working well. No meteorite impact, etc. Skybox. If you wait a minute, I'll tell you. Okay. I don't particularly like leaving the scene when I have someone going EVA like this. Ship looks like it's in great shape, but it's these nuclear engines which concern her. Because they're totally experimental, and these especially, and especially this one, is going to have the most use on it. You want to make sure there's nothing wrong. Kerbals don't worry about radiation. No, I'm not really using Nerdy mods because they're good mods, don't get me wrong. I'm just not thrilled with them. Okay, this is a personal thing. I do have lots of mods on. Frankly, my normal save has about 220 mods. This particular one
You're
has.
looking with David Fisher, Jeff Ross, and I'm just off.
Hold on. So, ship looks good. Engines look good. See the shadow? Nice. Okay. This particular save was put together for this challenge that I'm working on. Okay, and I've added an awful lot of whatchamacallit, graphical mods, because I'm going to be making a video out of this. So I've been taking lots of pictures, and I'm going to be reshooting some of the scenes in order to get some better shots. So I don't need all the mods I have installed here, not to run the game, but in order for the video stuff I do. I don't think I have that one. I know I have Scatterer. But given that, I mean, really, this wasn't doing that much around Kerman. If you wait a second, I mean, if you look at the, I believe that my spreadsheet. There we go. Boy. All right. Okay, so you want to know, let me find that. Okay, this game has 79 mods installed, actually 80, because there's one which I installed by hand. You want to know about the skybox. This is Fliffro's Raritan Skybox, R-A-R-E-D-E-N, and it was installed using CCAN. Well, my feeling about making them look prettier, well, yeah, for what you want, you don't need all these graphical mods. So let's freeze them both. Nighty night. All right. And now we have 97 days. Okay. So you don't need the graphical mods to make it look nice. Not go up. However, define look prettier. Okay, I like my rockets to look like rockets in general. Admittedly, this particular mission, it didn't look like real, like reality. But even when I added on all of these boosters and everything, each booster section looked like a rocket. Okay, so we have. The other mod I wanted to mention to you is Kerbal Alarm Clock. I think I mentioned it. And it lets you set an alarm for sometime in the future and then just warp to it. Okay? All right, so we are here. Okay? We have to warp, we have to go to sleep for basically 97 days. Okay? The reason I'm using deep freeze is because of life support. I do have life support installed. I have the USI life support because to me it doesn't make sense about that. I mean, when I do missions to the Mun or whatever, I don't worry about it. I figure that there's a certain amount which is built in. But you're going this far away, you got life support, you can't carry enough, so I carry the freezer instead. Okay? But I still have to be careful because if I don't freeze them, I will run out of life support eventually. 2 people, it's 91 days there. That would use up more than half, and then we would have to come over here. It would have gotten a little tight. Besides, wouldn't you go stir crazy being in a small cabin with only one other person for 150 days? So that being said, let's go ahead and do the walk. So anyway, Kerbal alarm clock. Just watch this. Actually, before I do this, let me do this. F5 for safety. Okay. So I've set the alarm. And watch what happens now as I increase the warp. I mean, you know what increasing warp does. But watch what happens over here. Okay, as it gets really close. Okay, 53. Over here you can see the countdown, if your resolution is good enough. And watch the warp time also, okay? 4 days. Notice the warp is slowing down now automatically. So if you went from full warp down to 0, you would basically invoke the Kraken. So it slows you down in an orderly manner so that the Kraken isn't woken up. Okay, so here we go. It's saying time to pay attention. I'm going to delete it. This actually, I don't know why it doesn't always delete it, but that's very easy. All right. We are now 4 days away from the maneuver. 4 days is enough time to go ahead and wake him up. So I'm only going to wake up Valentina. I'm not going to wake up Burberry. He can sleep all the way home. This illusion, Kerbalism, is I think it does too much. Okay, and it's trying to replace too much of the KSP program itself. I tried. I've never used it, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I don't bother supporting it in my mods. I mean, if someone gives me a patch, I'll accept it, but I don't do anything with it because I just think this is a personal decision. I think it's too much to do. In terms of life support, I'm not in love with USI life support. I just picked one which was reasonable and which would play into the whole thing. What I didn't mention is that the life support, I wanted to make sure it had real supplies. Okay, so over here on my supplies, so I actually had to deal with that in terms of putting it on here, in terms of the mass, etc. And that's really what I wanted to do. Okay, so Val needs to go EVA. Of course, we shall go up. Don't ask me why I always go up. I just like doing that. Lights. Left. Okay. Ship still looks good. Okay. No micrometeorites or anything like that. The Torek, welcome. I didn't see you show up. Hello. Welcome to the Flying Penguins. There we go. And you're talking about the ISRU for Kerbalism? Okay. So now that I'm here, I do have 4 days to go. 3 days, 5 hours. for a maneuver which is going to be 3 hours and 29 minutes. Okay? The good thing is that I can do time warping. We'll see how long it takes. I'm going to F5. Actually, I'm going to do it. Control F5. Nope. Wrong one. Alt F5. Before burn to home, to Kerman. Okay? So this way, if it turns out that it takes too long, I can simply stop the game and do the burn on my own time, so you guys don't sit there watching a rocket burning for ad infinitum. 3 hours. I'm not sure what the time warp is. 1, 2, 4. So it's times 8. So 3.5 hours divided by 8 is how much time? Someone want to do the math for me? Val feels a little guilty about not waking Burberry off, but thankfully she's going to be going back to sleep again, so might as well just let him sleep. Besides, every time you wake up and you go to sleep, you use up glycerol. While I do have plenty, you know, eventually you run out. Okay, so in node in 4 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more. This will be 1 hour before, and that basically will mean that I'll be burning my way through it. Add alarm. Okay. There we go. Delete on close. Great. All right. Whoops. Let's see if I can do this. Isn't that a nice picture? Alright. So, node in 1 hour, let's go ahead. We're actually going to burn past it, which is okay. Plus 287 days. It's good that now the vessel has gotten to a size where we can do this time warping without even going yellow. Now, the only thing I want to do while we're doing this is this. Take a look at this. Tanks, 40%. Metrics say about the Delta V stats. Okay, so basically in 39 minutes, okay, these tanks will be empty. Okay, so at that point, I'll shut down the engines, do a jettison. Actually, maybe I won't bother shutting down at this point, because there isn't anything else left. Make sure about this. That's good. All right. I'm going to keep this here because I don't want to take a chance on myself getting bad. Okay, so time is going. I'm going to pull up a quick calculator and just get an idea as to how long it's going to take for this whole thing to go. 30. So it looks like it's a 26-minute burn with time acceleration. So you guys, I can, if you want to watch, we can do this, we can talk, or I can shut this down now and come back to this on my own time. I can show you the some the captain's log and some of the other mods which I've been working on. No, it won't mess up the burn. What will happen is that you see here, when this burn is done, basically they'll go away a little bit, okay, and the main vessel will accelerate out, but there'll still be 23,000 worth of delta. Make sure about that. Yeah, so these guys are still at 100%. This is a mod called Tac Fuel Balancer. Okay. The way it's working, you see these yellow lines? Okay. Here, and obviously there's one over here. Okay. Those are fuel lines. So what's happening is that I have what's called asparagus staging setting. Okay. And what that means is that when you first take off, you have lots of stages. Okay. And you start dropping off pieces like pieces of asparagus. Okay. So it feeds the inside until they're empty. Then I drop them off because I don't need that mass anymore, and the center tank is full. That's why this is pretty much staying. The reason it's varying is because the ship is wobbling. Okay. Let me see if I lock the gimbal. Okay. Yeah, the gimbal lock. These engines are old, from an old mod, and unfortunately the gimbaling is bit off with that. I had a chance to fix it. It happens to be a mod which I'm working on reviving. So, oh Jade, you're back. Welcome. So tell you what, see, when I tried doing this before, I tried actually pulling up the second game and letting this one run in the background, and I basically gave OBS connections. So I would actually have to shut down this game in order to pull up the second. Nate Capper, welcome. Welcome to the Flying Penguins. Obviously you know that I'm Linux Newer Gamer, and we are currently in the middle of a 3.5-hour burn to reverse our solar course from a retrograde solar into back into a regular solar. Who did a 24-hour burn? I didn't do 24-hour. I did. The earlier burns were a couple of burns. Nate Cabot did a 24-hour burn? Yeah. Well, the Turek, This is what happens when you're in a retrograde orbit. You have to do that sort of thing. I originally wanted to do this mission using only chemical rockets, but the size of the vessels was astronomical, and I wasn't sure I had the ability to do it properly. So I decided at least I was going to bend and use the nukes, but I still wanted to do it as quickly as possible. And I think that I'm going to be among the top in terms of the shortest time for the mission. So we're actually down to a 2 hour 24 minutes to go. That went pretty fast, actually, from a 3.5 hour down to. So let's just let it go. See what happens. Hide trouble a long time. The one earlier was about 100. I think it was another. It was 6,000 meters per second. My voice volume is low. Excuse me. Does anyone else have that problem? I can certainly make an adjustment. Okay, how's it now? Let me know, Nate. I just increased it a little bit. I don't want to blast people's ears. Anyway, the earlier. Okay, my system just went a little nutsy. Okay, so earlier it was a 6,000 meter per second bird, which took about 100 minutes. Okay, this one is 20,000, which is going to take about, in total, 3.5 hours. Now we're already down to 2 hours 10 minutes, so it's going pretty fast. I forget offhand what. Oh, it's times 4 times. 4. So it's 3 hours. We'll see. Maybe I'm just talking too much and I don't realize it's happening. The nukes are loud. Oh, that's easy enough. And I thought that I didn't realize. You guys need to let me know. The nukes are loud. I thought I had it down low. Let me know how it is now, okay? So, it looks like we will be doing a jettison in a couple of minutes. Four minutes. Chatterer. I don't, off the top of my head, who was the Chatterer thing? Chatterer's loud. Let me see. I'm looking for the Chatterer voices. Let's see how it is now. Hopefully that was what it was. I can also, well, I'd rather one. Is that better? Chatter or softer now? Okay. We're about to... Farewell. Thank you for your service. You certainly did a good job for us. Okay. So now this went to 4 hours. Yeesh. Because these engines are, well, less acceleration with just the one engine. 16,000. 23, that'll be 7,000. I guess the hardest thing I've had with streaming is getting the sound to work properly. But I got, this is also the computer I use when I work sometimes, and I need to make sure that it works for that also. So, my sound keeps getting messed up. Estimated burn 4 hours 24 minutes, which means that if this is times 4, we're talking about another hour of burn time. I don't think you guys want to watch this for an hour. So why don't we do this? Let me stop the burn, and I'll save the game, and I'll exit. And then what I can do is I'm going to bring up a development build that I use, and I can show you the captain's log, because it's working a lot better now. And I can also show you another set of mods that I've been working on, which I really haven't talked about up until now. It's going to be a while for that to happen, but if that works for you, then I'll go ahead and do that. So I know what one should. Jade said something about showing the captain's log. You'd like to see that. And I've shown the captain's log in the past 2 weeks, but it's almost in a release state. Not quite there yet. There's still some things which have to go on. Okay. So let me do that. Okay. Yeah, estimated burn 4 hours 13 minutes. All right. Where are we over here? Okay. And I'm going to stop the burn, exit, go to the main menu, save, yes, okay. All right. So let me do that. And what will happen is this, that once I'm done with that, I'm probably going to come in because I want to finish this burn if I can. And I may or may not have time. So we'll see. All right. So that's done there. We have to wait for this to exit. Great. Okay. OBS. Desktop center. Uh-oh. OBS seems to have locked up on me. Can you guys still hear me? I guess. All right. I'm seeing myself in my monitor. The OBS screen seems to have messed up. So, since all right. music too loud. Yeah, well, we'll turn that down again. All right. All right, let's get this going. Oh, there we go. Okay, fixed it. All right. My preview mode decided to get all messed up. Alrighty, so obviously this is Kerbal Space Program. Okay, let me maximize the screen. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Now keep in mind that I know that there's still a couple of things wrong with the captain's log, and like I said, it's a mod under development. Okay, so this is the icon for it. Okay, and this screen is still being worked on, but basically this shows you the log entries which have been recorded along with whatever you want. Now you can select which fields you want displayed. Okay, and this is pretty much what's on screen, the screen display. Okay. So if I look at this, I can see that, oh, well, you know, a lot of these are automatic. Actually, there's something. Let me change the music. I'm going to go put Popsky back on. If I can. All right. Let me know if it gets too loud again. Okay, so anyway, what you're seeing here is information. Okay, I see this got messed. This screen needs work right now. Okay, but you see the and this is totally messed up. Okay, so what happened, this is supposed to be lined up here. So this is your vessel name, the time, UTC time. Okay, this is the, and the mission time. This is the situation, the body that you're around. This would be the, whether it's in the full, what kind of control, full control, partial control, etc. Altitude, okay, your speed, the event, okay, and this is the notes which I selected. This music is Popsky, and I actually paid him for it, even though he does allow you to use it in streaming. And I didn't, you know, you don't have to pay him, but I felt that since I was using it, that I need to. Okay, so you can select what you want to see here. Okay, for example, if I want that again, so now I'm seeing the little thumbnail. Okay, so it really, you know, it helps me identify what it is that you've done. You can see now that things are lined up properly. So like I said, this needs work. Okay, EXP stands for export. Okay, you can export your log to either a CSV file or an HTML file. Actually, it's the same thing. You can save all fields as CSV or save as HTML. Okay. Let me do that. So you get to select your HTML template. Right now, the only thing I have working is example. Okay? Which is something I'll be using for development, but I intend to have detailed with full size, detailed with thumbnails, detailed, no images. There's still a couple of features I need to add because I realized when I got this working earlier today, well, you'll see the problem. Okay? So now you can put in, an optional title. You can pick a header image, which can be whatever image file you want from the let's see if it actually works. There it goes. Okay. So what it was doing just then, it was actually reading all the image files in the directory, and it was actually converting them all into thumbnails so you could display it here. Okay. And the thumbnail size is determined in the system, in the configuration. So I could pick any one of these, and I also have to not select the thumbs. So that again, this is this is stuff which is going on. Okay, we'll select that. Okay, you can do the same thing with a footer image, and then give it a name, and then you export. Okay. Now what's going to happen? You're not going to. Yes, you are. Okay. So here is actually the file exported. Now this particular template, it's putting the full image and the thumbnail image on each line. Okay. But like I said, this is a development, but here, and I'm also putting the flag. Okay. Flag, you actually have multiple flags. You have the flag for your space program, and then each vessel can have a different flag depending on if you've decided to use different flags for different missions. Okay. And again, this is I just got this working today, so I haven't done any work at all on the layout, but this is HTML. So now that I have it in an HTML file, I can print it, okay, which obviously I'm not going to. You could save it, you could do whatever you want. You could even, if you wanted to, save it and use it in on a web page. Iceman, welcome to the Flying Penguins. Right now I'm showing off the Captain's Log, which is a mod that I'm currently developing. I've been working on it for several weeks. It's getting to the point now, finally, where it's working very well, considering how complicated it is. And internally, it may sound simple to log things, but there's an awful lot going on. Okay, you can also filter. Let me cancel this. I want to readjust this. So you can filter what's displayed. Okay. Normally it's showing everything, but let's say that I wanted to filter the situation. Okay. So, and I only wanted to see things which are landing. And hello. And I got a problem. Alright. It was working before. Before meaning last week. I haven't looked at the filters for a while. So let's see what happens when we go to the launch pad. Because it actually does an internal reset, and it might be okay. No. Okay. So that's something I'll have to fix. So let me get out of this real fast. Oh, get real fast, and we'll get back in. No, Suicide Burn turned out that I wasn't getting the results I wanted. So I just, for now at least, it's on the back burner. I'm sorry. It's something that I wanted to get in there, but I wasn't able to. Okay. Let's get back in here. I'm not going to play with the filters again. Suffice to say that using the filters, you can limit you could limit based on what the filters are, what you want displayed. Okay, and then these filters actually carry through to when you do an export. Okay, Confliction, thank you very much for stopping by. Have a great night, and I hope to see you next week. All right, but like I said, I'm not going to touch this right now because obviously there's a problem. I will just take care of it tomorrow. Okay. Besides the filters, you can specify individual lines which you can export. So let's say I don't want to export anything except that I want this one, and I want that one, and I want that one. You get the idea. Okay. And then you can select the export. Now, in terms of the export, if you do HTML, okay, I'm going to have a few more, probably summaries, and the example will be not shown here, but will be available for people to look at. I'm hoping that other people who use this will come up with their own template files, and it would be nice if they send it back to me so I could include it in the mod. Yeah, the math, well, Turk, the math was the math itself really isn't that complex. The problem is that you can't do it with math. Okay, you actually have to have a constant iterative process, which keeps redoing the whole thing going down. And because this is actually what real landers do. Okay, the landers which have gone to Mars, they actually, they're constantly reevaluating and projecting the course and adjusting as it can. So, all right. So anyway, I have documentation for the layout. Basically, a template consists of 4 files. It's a config file, and then you have a header, where you can put header text. You can have a header image. You can have the flag if you want, and then you have detailed, and that's one for every line. Okay, and then you're going to have a footer. Okay, so each one of these is a separate file. And basically, I'll show you the files in a couple of minutes. It's doing a simple replace. Simple except for the images, where it actually has to know and specify it in the config file whether it's a real HTML file or not. I mean, I'm calling it HTML because that's really the easiest way to get it into a printable format. Okay, but you can export it any way you want. You can have it printed out into a report. Whatever you want to do, you'll be able to do with the template files. And they may end up renaming it from HTML template to a template, just call it template selection. Okay, so let's cancel that, close this, and now let's get into here and take a look at the vessel and actually do it. Okay. Now, I started doing this before, okay, and I also tried showing off the NASA launch countdown mod, which I revived and I released earlier today, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so let's just do this. But before we do, let's take a look at the settings. Okay. So the settings, obviously, is it enabled or not? Blitzy toolbar. Override pause menu in the flight scene. Now you saw what happened when I hit the escape. The captain's log menu came up instead. Okay. What I'm trying to do here, and it's finally working 99% of the way I want it to, is that you normally hit the escape key in order to pause the game. Okay. And I was trying to think of the best way to make it easy to let you enter a log, a manual log entry. And I realized, well, why don't I just intercept the escape key? Okay, so that's what this is all about. You can override the pause menu, and what happens is the first time you hit escape, the captain's log menu, a log entry comes up. Hit escape again, it goes away, and the regular pause menu comes up. Okay. Now the screenshot, you can hide the UI, which is the F2 key, if you want. You can save it as a JPEG, and you can also save it as PNG. Okay. Now the way you have to understand is this: that screenshots are taken as PNG files, and I have code in here which will convert it to a JPEG file. JPEG files are a lot smaller than PNG files, but they lose resolution. Okay, for most people it'll be fine, but I have the options. You can do both. Here you specify the thumbnail size. Okay, I'm gonna set it pretty big. You'll see why in a little bit. Okay, it does something called bilinear filtering when it makes the thumbnail. Otherwise, you can use point filtering. Unless you have a problem with bilinear, don't bother changing it. Delay before pause for notes, 3 seconds. And what this means is when an automatic event happens, like launch or going or something exploding, it will wait 3 seconds before pausing the game and asking you for a note. Okay. And then also minimum time between log entries is defaults to 60. You can go up to 5 minutes, and this way you don't get spammed with requests for logs. Okay. Now what happened? The reason this is here is that all of these events, anything that's selected here, it will pause and ask you for input when these events happen. Okay. So and when I first started working on this, I had the problem that, for example, I deliberately would crash a ship trying to test it, and I got spammed with having to enter 25 log entries because 25 parts got destroyed. Okay, so by putting a minimum time between log entries, I'm able to avoid that. Now, I've decided that these at the top are defaulted to yes, I want to pause and ask for input. These at the bottom, I don't. Okay, and then don't ask me why I have 2 flag plants. I think I have to fix some text. All right, that's really very small. I mean, the fact that it's there is telling me it's not really pause and flag plant. It's another pause. I just don't remember what it is right now. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so, and this is one of the bugs, okay? Notice we're still paused. So I had to hit escape in order to unpause it. And let's cancel that. Okay. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a minute because I just had a log entry and I don't want to. I want to show you what happens. So we have to wait about 60 seconds before I do the launch. Okay. Anyway, what happened is earlier this week, me take that back. Yesterday, I realized that I had a problem with the way I was capturing the events and the way I was asking for entry. I was basically getting entry at the time of the event and taking the picture 3 seconds later, or the delay later. So I had to totally redo that. And believe it or not, even though I have a couple of small problems here, it's working a lot smoother now. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna do a launch, okay? And remember, right now it's set to a 3-second delay from the time an event happens to the time that the picture is taken and I get the pop-up to enter whatever text I want to, okay? So 3, 2, 1, launch. 2000. See that? So now the situation was we were in a pre-launch state and I activated the stage, okay? So that's the event that it saw. There's actually other events which happened. We're not going to see them here, but they will get logged to the log file, okay? Launched test rocket with Dynamo and MBLs. Kerman. Okay. All right. Bug, known bug, hit escape to close. It's not working. Okay. I know it's wrong, but I wanted to do my stream. So do that. You keep on. You saw the flash as it took the picture. Okay. We can look at this right now. Okay. This is pre-launch stage activate that. So if I show the notes, you see the note there. But then we had here 1, 2, 3, 4 vessel modifieds plus the launch. Okay. Those were all the events which happened, which we did not get prompted for because we got prompted for the first one. Now, this should have had the same image. It should have had that copied. I don't know why it didn't yet. You can delete lines by clicking the X. Okay. You can edit an existing entry which is not implemented yet. It's not a bug. It's just that I just added these 2 buttons earlier today. So clicking that isn't going to work, but clicking the X is actually very simple. And it deletes it. Okay? You can also, I'm going to hit the escape key now. Okay? So now that's the first escape. I can put in what I want. Or hit escape again, and that just told me exactly what was wrong. And it brings up the regular game menu. Hit escape again, you're back to where you were. Okay, so what happened here is that we ran out of fuel. Flying, manual entry. I'm not sure why it's saying manual entry. Oh, could I hit the escape key? Okay, out of fuel. Okay, great, took the picture. And now if we take a look at this, flight log recorded, manual entry, flight log recorded. Okay, so let's do this. Let's add. I'm gonna hide the thumbnail and and turn on the notes. Okay. Cause I want to see. There's what the entry I put in out of fuel. Okay, and then we got a flight log. Suborbital, because we actually at that point. Our altitude was a little over 70,000. We had just exceeded it. Got the message 3 seconds later, and so it records the whole thing here. Now, 3 dots tell me that it's more than 40 characters long because I limit the size of what I display here for obvious reasons. Okay, and that is pretty much it in terms of the captain's log. Okay. I think, however, that's enough. Like I said, there's a couple of the one feature I have to add is the ability to edit an existing note. Okay, and I also want to I want to be able to remember the positions of the windows. I don't have that done yet. It remembers it in game, but when I close the game and come back in, they'll be all gone. Okay. So I get select, filters. So all the filters you can select on. Let me just see if this happens. So when you do the selection, okay, it's showing you what the min. When you see these two bars, it's a minimum and a maximum. Now here's one of the issues. Altitude is a little weird because if you go into a interplanetary orbit, you leave the SOI of Kerman and you're in the SOI of Kerbal, the altitude is going to be so high it isn't going to be funny. So I need to do put something in there to make sure that altitude above the sun, in this case Kerbal, isn't listed here. Okay. Speed. Okay, notice, okay, so it's a problem with the situation. I'm changing the filter for the speed. Okay, so I'm saying I want speed between 844 and 1273. Look at the speed between 844 and 1273. Okay, this is not sorted by speed, it's sorted by time, and you cannot change that. I'm not putting a sort. Okay, so turn the speed. Okay, that's actually interesting. I would have expected that. I wanted, when you disable that, it should go back. Okay. So like I said, this is, stuff which I get things working, I move on to the next thing, and it's a matter of finishing up as I do it. You can do the same thing with the altitude, okay? Yep, you see how altitude 57 to 118, there's your altitude. Okay, let's turn those off. Body. Okay. Okay, so there's one. There's. It seems like when I select, it's this sort of a thing which is causing the problem. Okay. Okay. Go away. Great. All right. So that is Captain's Log. Okay, Jade, I hope that's a good ooh. All right. So now, I was thinking about how I was going to do the video for Burberry's rescue, and I wanted to have a real countdown. So I knew about this mod. It was back in 1.1.3. Okay. And it hasn't been updated since. So I went hunting, I found it. It took me about an hour and a half to figure out why it wasn't working, and it was actually adding 2 lines in order to make it work. Okay? But this one, what's really nice about it is this, okay? And I started showing this earlier when there were just a couple of people here. And I totally screwed up my system. So you can specify the launch sequence. Okay? So for example, at 6 seconds, execute stage 3. At 1 second, execute stage 2. Okay? I don't know what happens if you try reversing it. I haven't tried that yet. Okay. And settings here, you can select the sound that you want. There's a whole bunch of them. Okay, and you can easily add more sounds if you so desire. Okay, so let me do a launch. And by the way, it's Captain's Log might interfere with this. I'll have to see. But here we go.
28. 25.
Status check.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
Go Worldview 3.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Like I said, captain's log is interfering a little bit.
2. We have ignition.
Stage activate pre-launch. I'm not worried about it. Okay. Very cool. That was actually the Centaur. Okay. Has a little quirk. You got to click it twice. It doesn't take the first time.
Power transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch vehicle at this time.
He actually has a very nice
30 seconds
UI,
and counting.
the interface.
Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6.
I'm not sure why. Oh, I didn't set up the staging. You get the idea. Okay. I will be releasing it shortly. Like I said, I would like to try and figure out why you got to click it twice in order for it to work. And the most important is I want to get. Let me take it back. It is released. I did release it today, but I want to fix this. The one bug I want to fix is the fact that it's not remembering where the countdown window is. Okay, and oh, that's why, because I didn't have it's remembering stage number. It's not remembering exactly what. So let's do this one more time.
Power transfer is complete. We're on internal.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B plus undervolt. Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
Okay, very nice. Now here's the other odd thing about it. Well, it's the way he designed it. When it's controlling the engine, okay. Set your throttle to full or wherever you want it to be before you start the launch. Because when it starts that initial launch sequence over here, it's setting it at 0.01%, I believe, or 1% of throttle, and it's doing this for the effects. And then at launch time, it sets it back to wherever it was. So that's what happens now.
Power transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch vehicle at this time. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And I think that's pretty neat. I happen to like the Apollo one because I actually remember it. Yes, I'm that old. Okay, so that is the launch mod. Okay, the other thing you could do is, supposedly, interesting. His documentation said that you can shorten it and not have sound enabled. Let's see if that would what that does. Just for 1 second.
Now pressurized. 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9.
That's all.
Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main beam plus undervolt. Roger, main beam undervolt. Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
I think that it's a very nice implementation. I questioned some of his internals. It took me a little while to understand how he had coded it, but it kind of made sense. All right, so let me go show you some other things that I've been working on. Okay. This was a little fun. I had fun playing with it earlier today. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not working right yet, but that's okay. It will. A crawler platform, so I can actually bring the ships out. Now I'm doing this mainly for for my video, so I don't really care if it's totally functional. The problem with that is this. This is about to be funny. That is 1,000 tons of, or 3,000 crawler. So it will be it's easy enough to get to work. I just have to reduce the weight of it. The problem is that it's going to be carrying a 20,000 ton rocket. So but whatever. Like I said, it's a fun little thing. It came from one of the shuttle mods from a while ago. So we'll see what happens. The wheels are from Kerbal Foundries, okay? And the problem is that I'm basically exceeding by a lot the physics of what the physics is capable of. So I'm actually in touch with Star Racer. He's taking a look at this, trying to figure out if there's a way of doing it. I had it working if I set the weight of this to 50 tons and nothing else, and it was working very nicely. But right now the weight of this is 3,000 tons. Okay, so it's not going to work as is. If I can only have the 50 tons, then then the scenes will show the crawler moving away, not moving out, and that's okay. All right. Mod filter. All right. So first off, let me get. Okay. The first thing up is the KEL 9000. Okay, this is well, it's really just it's like a command module. Okay, remote guidance assist. I'm thinking about having some sort of audio associated with it, so every once in a while it'll come out with one of Hal's sayings. I haven't done anything about that yet, but it's a nice, fun mod. I remember when it first came out. When it first came out, it was like 3 times the size. Okay, and then people said it's too big, so I just think it looks nice. A nice, fun little thing. Okay. Where are the rest of my parts? I guess I didn't do it properly. There's a bunch of parts that I'm trying to revive. And like I said, it was it's a work in progress, and obviously the work is not progressing right now. For example, one of the things is you have a tank, only it's an angled tank. And I don't know why it didn't show up. Let me take a quick look here. Hold on a second. Okay. They're all there. Oh, that should be there. You seeing this? No, you're not. Well, let me let you see what I'm doing right now. So I'm looking at the log file. I'm trying to see what if anything, is missing. Don't worry about it. That's all my captain's log stuff. Okay, let's get back into it. Okay, show all, module size, show all, view sources, show all. Alright. It's actually very strange because it thinks it's there. They're all there. So this is the crawler. Or actually, it's a launch platform for the space shuttle. Okay, and the fuel tanks, I just don't. I don't know why they're not showing up. That's just that just because it should. Okay, let me take a look at one more thing. Well, what I'll do, let me go into the game data and I'll. SpaceX Industries. Oh, duh. Oh, nuts. Okay, let's delete that. Yes. The reason it didn't show up is because I copied the wrong folder. So, give me a moment to get that loaded properly. And then we'll try it again. I just copied that in just before the stream. Obviously, I was a little. I didn't get a chance to try it to check it out. So. Okay, now let's go. These are, I was looking at the old Kerbal Stuff site. I have all the files. And I saw that there was some parts mods, which actually was stuff I had been looking for a long time ago, and I wasn't aware of them. And they are parts which I find very useful, or I will find very useful. I had actually asked Rover Dude about making some of these, and he basically said that he wasn't interested, which it's his right. Okay, I was disappointed, but it's his time, whatever. So that was fine. So here we go. Let's try this again. Mod filter. Show all. Okay. Actually, let me do this. Hide all. SpaceX Industries. Okay. So the Mark II Lightning cockpit. It's a it's a nice little cockpit with a very nice, supposedly a very nice IVA. The problem with it, for me at least, is that the IVA seems to be a little broken. I've asked someone else for help to take a look at it, and he said that he would. Okay. If we go out there to the launch pad, okay, that's what's broken. I suspect that all of the controls are just below the surface, because when I looked at the file, they look good. I just don't know how to fix it. Okay. So a lot of my mods, I actually depend on other people to to help. There are things which I don't know what to do, and I'm more than happy to accept help from whoever. All right. So that's, hopefully it'll be something which will become available. Okay. We'll get to that one in a minute. Here are the parts that I like. Okay, this is basically it's a tank, but it only holds oxidizer. It doesn't hold anything else. And here is what I love. These required a certain amount of work. Because they were using the old way of specifying the nodes, but I had wanted something like this for a long time. Okay, and this is a 5 degree, so it lets you make things which weren't possible before. I love it. Okay. Don't save. Okay. Nuclear engines. This is the nuclear light bulb. The light bulb. Okay. This is what I was using on the big vessel in the rescue. Okay. This is the lantern. Just to show you the equivalent. Where is the oops, wrong one. Nuclear. Here's the nerve. Okay. Okay. So you can get an idea as to the sizes of this. Oops. I don't want to do that. Don't do the shroud. Okay, so these are little nuclear engines in different sizes. So this is the standard stock one. This is smaller. This is really tiny. It's almost like a nuclear RCS, for lack of a better term. Okay, and you have this, the atomic turbojet, which is really for planes. Now this one's a little broken. Okay, and there's nothing I can do to fix it. Apparently it's inherent in the model itself, so I'm not going to worry about it. If people want to use it, fine. If not, if someone wants to and fix it and let me give me an updated model, I'll be very happy. Okay, but other than that, it's just one of those things. Yeah, for me, the big thing for this isn't this, or I can see why people would like it, but it's these nuclear engines. Okay, so very basically, I wanted this, and it worked. It fits in nicely with stock. Okay. Mark II Advanced Reaction Wheel. Detailing on this is wonderful. Okay, I love it. Okay, it's standard Mark II size. Okay, you have also, and I know some of these exist in other mods. That is a decoupler, and that's a separator. But I just happen to like the looks of these, so I said, why the heck not? Okay. For those of you who like using Kerbal inventory system, you got a container for Kerbal, 2 containers for Kerbal inventory. That's all these are. Nothing else. Hatches don't open, although it looks like they should. It's made for Kerbal inventory. Kerbal inventory doesn't do anything like that. Forget. For this one, I actually forget where this is from. Okay, but this is an air ram and compressor for the Mark III. We'll get to those wings in a little bit. Same with that. Okay, these are radiators. Okay, for those nuclear engines. Okay, I may end up tweaking them to generate more heat, because in my mission here, they really didn't overheat at all, and they really should. So that's something which I've learned from this mission. Okay, Mark II battery, and there's 2 batteries. Okay, he had this was from the original mod, and then he redid it. Okay, but I happen to like the look of this, and other people did also. So you have your choice. Okay. I hope this is all getting you all hot and bothered for this. Let me show you the one thing I was holding off on. Now this, I've had a little help from Star Waster in terms of some wheels. Okay, before I do anything else, can anyone guess what this might be? I'll give you a couple of minutes, a minute or two to people to pop in. The delay is actually more than I expected. Interesting. All right. So, I don't see anybody making guesses. It still needs some work. So the wheels, which I'm about to put on, thanks to Star Waster, he is the one who's doing KSP wheel and Kerbal Foundries. So he has been extremely helpful. So does anyone know what this is now? Well, anyone remember the TV show Farscape? This is the Farscape. Rocket. I forget the guy's name, but remember that he went in, ended up in a wormhole. Well, it's really intended to take off on top of a rocket, but we can do this here. I do suggest, however, that you keep SAS on because it's not stable in a very interesting way. Okay. So it is not stock alike, and it's just a fun little runabout. This is using the standard rocket engine. It also has the hatch drive, which you can get across Kerbal in the whole star system in a matter of minutes. But it's a nice little vessel, a little runabout. You can see here some work has to be done for on the wings. Okay, but it flies nicely as long as you keep SAS on. Because if you don't, let me turn it off. What happens is this. Okay, I may be going. There you go. See that? It just goes out of control. But with SAS on, it works okay. He says as he almost crashes it. So again, the wheels are using KSB wheels. There's a little bit of, I mean, you see that there's a little funny stuff. There were some problems with the model. But, you know, he did a good job of making them work properly. It's a nice little runabout. Someone asked me to do it, I think. So I took a look and I said, oh, I'll see what I can do. The rocket, the plane itself, it's a little bit unstable. Like I said, you keep SAS on and you'll be fine. Okay. And I do need to. There is some adjustments to its flying characteristics, which I may be able to make it work a little better. Apparently, it flew better in the previous version. But in 1.3, it's having some problems. And I'm not good at landing these things on runways, or landing them in general. We'll see if I can do this. Oh. Well, I can't, but it can be done. Okay? My feeling is that this is a nice little thing. Oh, and here's the other thing which can be done. Oops. Yeah, I know. Okay. Your Kerbals can go EVA, and when they go back in, oh, I guess that didn't work, did it? Supposedly, they go EVA, and Okay, I guess you can't see it. It lost that ability. Yeah. In the previous version, you were actually able to see it. So, it's a cute little thing. Someone who's a better flyer than me was going to be able to land it without a problem. I mean, I mostly got it down. I just, you know, I also probably was over controlling. But anyway, so that's it. This is there are other parts mods I'm looking to integrate into this. I'm not looking to roll up my number of mods. So this is actually 5 or 6 mods which I just showed you, which are all going to be released as a single mod. Space Ducks Industries Recycle Parts. But what I'm hoping to do is to be able to have each one in the Space Ducks Industries Recycle Parts directory by itself, unique, so you can delete what you don't want. Also with CCAN, I'm going to set it up so you can install the pieces that you want, or you can install the whole thing. But it's one mod with separate subsections. Okay. All right, and this is going to be real fast. Go back and show you, just briefly mention some of the others which I'm looking to incorporate into this mod. Hello. I want a new one. This be secret. All right. Okay, so the ones you saw, which I showed you, let me okay, game data. Okay, the Atomic Age, Baja SP is the one with the Mark II Lightning. That's still an iffy thing. Clockwork Industries had those adapter tanks, which I absolutely love. You had the KAL 9000. Mike NZ, that's the Farscape. Mark II containers, these are the 2 containers for KIS. And Mark II Essentials, that had the battery, the alternate battery, decouplr, SAS, and separator. Okay. On top of that, there's more Mark II parts, which I'd like to see if I can get involved into integrated. These. Okay. If I'm going too fast, please, feel free to speak up. I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to look into this mod. Okay, but I'm not sure if this is a custom decal which he did in it or not. But you can see some of the extra parts here. Modular VTOL training program. These, by the way, the licenses and all of these allow me to do this. Okay, there are some mods which I couldn't touch because the license didn't allow, or it didn't have a license at all. Okay, so this one looks like it's going to be fun. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. Play with it meaning make it do any work on it. You have the bubble. Yeah, it's. I'm not sure about it, but it was part of his thing. Okay. More atomic engines. Now this one, I think I have a problem with the license. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have the right the license. I think I've asked him for permission. I haven't heard back yet. So you may not see these, unfortunately. Mark II cockpit expansion. This has a bunch of different cockpits for the Mark II. Some of them look nice, some of them look a little weird. It's the same thing. Okay. I'll see. This one, I'm pretty sure. Is the license? Yeah. This is a CC by NCSA share alike, which means I can, as long as I'm not commercial, I can redistribute it. So this one's definitely going to get in there. All of these actually, because they're all the same license. Mark 2.5. I'm waiting on this for permission from Squad, because when I got in touch with the person who made this, he said that he had started off with the Squad model and then had modified it. So I like that. That's a Mark 1. That's a 1.25 meter. So it's Mark 2 to 1.25 meter recessed adapter. All of those were from Mark II Essentials, Jade. I'm trying to remember what it was you sent me. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. But everything here. Oh no, the battery. Yeah, it was from what you sent me, absolutely. But I'm not sure if I used it or if I already had a working set. I'd have to go look at my notes. This one I like. But I can't wait until I can't do anything until I hear back from Squad, because it had that original. It started originally from a Squad part. I just don't want to take a chance on pissing them off at me. All right. So we'll see. Mark II Essentials. Okay, those are what we saw. Nano tubes, small probes. Any pictures here? Okay. This is a CC share alike. Okay, these are really tiny probes, which I'm not sure I'm going to do, but again, the license allows, and the problem is that I'm not sure it's something which we really need. Solar science. This I'm going to do. It's basically giving you a little bit more science for getting around the sun. Okay, and the license, again, everything here, the license allows me to do this. CC by NC, which means I can share it. Okay, wind rides. I'm not sure what this is. Solar. I remember what this. The Mark II solar batteries. I forget which ones these are. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now it turns out it's 12 o'clock for me, so I'm not going to go back into the main game. I will, however, finish that burn during the week. And that's all I'll do. I'll just do the burn and stop, so that next week we will actually have the conclusion of the Burberry Kerman's rescue. And in celebration of that, next week I will be doing a giveaway of a copy of KSB to some lucky winner. So, given where we will be at, I do not expect it to go the entire stream. I fully expect that if I start at 8 o'clock, I should be done by 10. I can't see the remainder of it taking that long. Okay, but we'll see. Also, next week, if you like, hopefully I'll be able to start recording the video images that I want for the video I want to make. So if you'd like it, I can do that online, do that on stream, and and you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now, I'm a total beginner here. I'm just using the tools available. You saw earlier in the evening some of the additions I've made to the basic game. in order to make it look more interesting and to fit in with the story, which I'm writing. Okay, and the story is covering pretty much this whole Burberry Kerman rescue mission, but it's hopefully in a nicer format. Anyway, with that, let me see if there's anybody else online who is. Rocket PC is playing, and we got Dr. Doof, and alrighty, trying to think. Well, Dr. Doof, he's a fun little guy. Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. He's a fun guy, and he only has 2 viewers. So why don't we go raid him? All right. As always, you can reach me on the forums. You can catch me online sometimes, but that's a little harder. Anyway, and with that, I hope you all have a good night. I thank you very much for coming and spending time with me. I hope that next week you will do the same. And please mention to your friends and others that I will be doing a giveaway next week upon the conclusion of the Burberry Kerman rescue mission. So until then, let's go say hi, and please tell Dr. Doof it's a penguin raid. All right? And with that, you all have a good night. Whoops. Helps if I host. There we go.
Alright, so there's a little bit more lift.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Linux Guru Gamer. Sir, thank you so much for that host. I do greatly appreciate that. Guys, well, everybody, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So how are you guys doing today?